Impatient Grace and the Tooth Fairies, written by C. Selper, illustrated by Nugraha, and read for you by Steve McCurdy. Welcome to the second book in a series about a little girl called Grace. Little Grace is lovely, with her brown and curly locks. She also loves to play outside while wearing silly socks. One day, as she was playing, climbing high up on some trees, while watching birds and butterflies and fluffy honeybees, a very strange thing happened, and it gave her quite a fright. "My tooth feels really odd," thought Grace. "It doesn't feel quite right." She hopped down from the tree and quickly ran to find her mom. "Oh, Mommy, please," she called to her. "You really have to come." "Just look inside my mouth," she pleaded. "Something isn't right. I cannot figure out what's wrong. I've tried with all my might." Her mom began to look, but then she chuckled and she smiled. "Now, don't you worry, Gracie dear. Your tooth is loose, my child. And when your tooth comes out," she said, "you'll put it by your bed. The fairy will then visit and leave money in its stead." "I wonder what she does with all the teeth she gets," thought Grace. "Does she bring them to a palace or a really pretty place? I wonder if she takes them and then fashions with some tools a wall protecting others from some terrifying ghouls. Or maybe she builds houses with the most amazing grounds, or turns the teeth to diamond dust and crafts 1,000,000 gowns. Or what if she makes dust with them to turn them into flowers? Or maybe fairies need the teeth to work their magic powers." And so the days began to pass, but Grace's tooth just wiggled. "Oh, please be patient, Gracie dear," her mom said as she giggled. But Grace just couldn't wait and tried to chew on lots of gum. And when that didn't work, she tried to push it with her thumb. And then she bit some bread, but that was really not much use. The tooth just wouldn't budge or get a tiny bit more loose. But then, one night at dinner time, while Gracie sat and ate, her 2 front teeth fell out and landed safely on her plate. "My goodness, Mommy, look at this!" cried Grace in sheer delight. "Not 1, but 2 tooth fairies will come visit me tonight." "I'll see you in the morning, Mom. I'd better get to dreaming." Then off she skipped and went to bed, her face so bright and beaming. Grace carefully then laid her teeth beside her sleepy head, and as her heavy eyelids closed, she very softly said, "I'd better try to stay awake. I just can't wait to see the fairies and their magic when they come to visit me." But very soon she fell asleep, and then began to dream about the fairies flying high, so they would not be seen. They flew in through her window with a shimmer all around, and then the lovely fairies landed softly with no sound. Each gently took a tooth and dropped it in their little case. "This money is for you, our sweetest, kindest little Grace." Then off they flew, back to their home, their lovely fairy city, behind them leaving fairy dust so sparkly and so pretty. When Grace awoke, she very quickly looked around to see so many dollar bills. "I can't believe it's all for me." She ran to show her mother with a grin upon her face. Her mom just smiled and said to her, "Congrats, Impatient Grace." Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy? What do you think the Tooth Fairy does with your teeth? What do you think the Tooth Fairy looks like? Go to www.harlescottbooks.com. Join our email list for more stories about Grace, her dogs, and her whole family.